We are back here in Madden 25 franchise mode with another fantasy draft, and today we are going to be using the 2003 rosters. So as you guys can see, this roster has guys like Marvin Harrison, Peyton Manning, Champ Bailey, Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Rondé Barber, Jerry Rice is in here, Randy Moss, Dante Culpepper, Matt Burke, etc, etc. This roster has a ton of legends in it. And so with this roster today, we are going to be doing a fantasy draft, and my challenge for today's video is trying to draft a Super Bowl winning team using this 2003 roster. And before we jump into this draft, I will put up the roster that I'm using up on the screen, so if you guys want to try it out, feel free to do that. A huge shout out to the guy that made it. I can only imagine how much time it took. But with that being said, we will jump right in and see what pick we get. So we get pick 10. So we are picking in the top 10. So Peyton Manning goes at pick 1, Donovan McNabb pick 2, Brett Favre pick 3, Michael Vick goes pick 4. So it's literally all quarterbacks up to this point. So the top 9 picks were quarterbacks. So a lot of the higher overall quarterbacks are off the board. But we do still have a couple of 99 overalls left on the board. But let's see the quarterback selection. We have an 88 overall Jeff Garcia. Tom Brady at 84 overall is just sitting here. That's good. How old is Tom Brady here? He's 25. So this is pretty much like 20 years before Brady retired. Or more like 18-ish years before he retired. But one thing with this roster is some of the pictures for the players are inaccurate. Like for example, here we have Alan McNeil. That's just the way it is on a couple of other players too. And like here we have Travis Etienne. That's just kind of how it is. But it's not too big of an issue because at the end of the day, this roster is still very detailed and it is very well made, regardless if there is a few players that do have different pictures. But yeah, with that being said, with pick 10, we are going to be adding a quarterback here. It's the most important position, so we're going to add it here in round 1. Jeff Garcia, 88 overall, 32 years old, superstar development, is going to be our pick here in round 1. And now we're back on the clock here in round 2. So I just saw Drew Brees. He actually was the first pick in the second round. I believe he was a 77, if I'm not mistaken. So just looking at the highest rated players, we have a 93, 92. So we do still have plenty of 90 pluses. Well, actually, not plenty. We only have 10. So I guess that's something to consider here. But I would like to see what's the corner situation looking like. So the highest rated corner is an 82 overall. So yeah, another thing with this roster is the rating spread is a lot different than what we see now. Which granted, today we do have like insane rating inflation, which like hopefully gets fixed in Madden 26. Will it? Absolutely not. But I mean, it absolutely should, because ratings today are so overinflated. It's actually insane. But yeah, here in round 2, what I normally like to do in round 2 is add a defensive lineman. And Warren Sapp is here, 88 overall. But off the edge, we do have Hugh Douglas at 89 overall. So because of the slight overall advantage, we are going to be picking up Hugh Douglas here in round 2. And back on the clock here for round 3, I will mention that I'm probably going to go like 25-ish rounds, somewhere in there. And this also just is a one season thing. And Warren Sapp is still here. So maybe I might take him and just add him to the defensive line. That could be an option. How old is he? Because the CPU will pass up on older players. He's only 29. Okay, so he's actually not that old. So we're just going to add Warren Sapp here and beef up this defensive line. So Jerry Rice ended up getting picked just a couple of picks before us. He was who I wanted in round 4. If we were able to get him, that would have been nice. But yeah, but what I was going to say before I made the pick in the last round is this is just going to be a one season thing. So I'm not really concerned about player ages or anything like that. Like, this isn't a long-term thing. We're just going through one season to see if I can draft a Super Bowl winning team. But yeah, here in round 4, the cornerback drop-off and overall is starting to happen. Like, there's a lot of 76s here. There's only 2 80 overalls. So I'm going to go corner within the next couple of rounds here. Not this round, but within the next couple of rounds. So what I want to do here, though, is I want to give our quarterback a wide receiver to throw to. And Rod Smith at 86 overall is sitting here at the top of the board. So we are going to be picking him and adding another piece to our offense here. And so here for round 5, Willie Roaf. That's an interesting picture he's got there. Wow. But you know what? I respect it. So I did say I was going to go with a corner within the next couple of rounds. And I think it is probably about time to do that. I'm going to be sacrificing on overall just a little bit because, you know, there is still higher overall players on the board, but The drop off in overall for a corner is pretty insane, and I want to avoid that as much as possible. So Darrell Green, 42 years old, goodness gracious, what's his speed? So he's 94 speed at 42 overall. That is kind of insane, but and 94 agility too, goodness gracious. But yeah, we are going to be picking him here, and he's going to be our corner one. And I think here we'll stick on the defensive side of the ball. What about safeties? So there's two 85 overall safeties just sitting here at the top of the board, and I think what I'll do is I will go with a safety unless I see, yeah, I mean, Bruce Smith, 81 overall, he would be a good addition, but I feel like adding a safety is probably a little more important here. And Brock Marion, I know that's a current player as the picture, I just can't think of who it is. I've been trying to figure it out, but I just can't. I'm pretty positive it's a corner, but I just can't figure it out. But yeah, we'll just take Brock Marion here and add another piece to our secondary in back-to-back rounds. So I think if Bruce Smith is still on the board, I'll take him just so we can add another piece to our line. And he is 81 overall. Bruce Smith will be my pick here in round 7, and he's 39 years old, so goodness gracious, this team is ancient. And now here in round 8 is the other 85 overall. He is not. So I mean, Rodney Harrison, 80 overall, and the other 80 overall corner is still here. So I think what we'll do, we'll add Rodney Harrison here and add another piece to our secondary and just continue building out this defense. And in round 9, if that other corner is still on the board, I'm going to take him, and he's not. Unfortunate. Deion Sanders, he's a 75 overall. How old is he? He's 35. Okay, so I guess he must have lost a step. He's 93 speed though at 35. I think what we'll do here, we're going to add Bryant Young to this team and then complete our defensive line. And so now in round 10, there is not that many 80 overalls left. There's only 9 left on the board. So I think what we'll do is we'll take one of them, Wayne Gandy, add a left tackle to the team here. In round 11, if there's still any left on the board, I will take, and there is still an 83 left on the board here. Derek Deese, we'll take him, 289, 6'3", we'll move him over to right tackle. And now, is there still going to be any? There is still more 80 pluses on the board, but I mean, we could take one and move him to guard. I mean, I guess that is possible, but I feel like we should probably worry about the rest of the roster first. And so we could add another wide receiver. Troy Brown is sitting here. Chris Carter, I am a Vikings fan. How old is Chris Carter here? He's 36. Goodness gracious, his speed 88. But Keenan McCardle is here, and he is currently the Vikings wide receiver coach. So he is ranked as the second highest overall wide receiver here. But, you know, there's a little bit of a Vikings bias. So we are going to be taking Keenan McCardle here and adding another piece to our offense. And I just saw Mike Vrabel get taken. I wonder what his overall is. I guess we can check after the draft. But yeah, I do not have a single linebacker. But we also do need another corner. And Deion Sanders is here. I'm going to be taking him even though he's not the highest rated one, just because I really like Deion, so we'll add him to the secondary here. And he does have his face scan, so that's pretty cool that they have the face scans in here. But yeah, that pretty much completes our secondary. We do still need a slot corner, but outside of that, our secondary is pretty much complete. So yeah, we are down to just 3 80 pluses left on the board here, and one of them just happens to be a guard. And since we do not have a single guard on the roster, we will be adding Ray Brown here in round 14. So yeah, and he's 39 years old. So yeah, this team is quite literally a retirement home. But yeah, here in round 15, I think going with a tight end or maybe a linebacker might be a good idea. What's the tight end situation looking like? 72. Goodness gracious. Well, it's a good thing I do use the Bengals offensive playbook, so tight end isn't really the most utilized position, to say the least. But actually, what I want to do first before adding a linebacker is add another wide receiver to this team. So that way, outside of a few offensive linemen, a tight end, and a running back, the offense is pretty much complete. Because like I said, I use the Bengals playbook, so it's like a very pass-heavy playbook. So we want to have 3 wide receivers in there. So Joey Galloway is currently the highest rated wide receiver on the board, and he will be added to the team here. And so Scott Gregg is still sitting here at the top of the board at 82 overall. As much as I do need a linebacker, well, I mean, I need 3 linebackers and another corner as well. I do still need a lot of defensive positions and a tight end and a running back. We also do still need offensive linemen, so we're going to cheese it a little bit. We're going to be taking a 6'8", 82 overall right tackle, and then we'll move him to guard or center, whichever one makes the most sense. But yeah, Scott Gregg here in whatever round that was, welcome to the team. And for round 17, we are just going to complete our offensive line here because it probably makes the most sense to just do that. Mark Dixon at 80 overall. He is the last 80 overall left in this draft, so we're going to add him here and give ourselves an overall advantage. So we're probably going to have the highest rated offensive line in the game, and also the tallest offensive line in the game, because pretty much everyone outside of like one player that I drafted is a tackle. So we're going to have a very tall offensive line. So at tight end, Kyle Brady, 67 overall, is currently the highest rated tight end. What about running back? And as for running back, 76 is the highest rated running back. Emmitt Smith is here. He's the 75. How old is Emmitt Smith here? He's 33. What is his speed looking like? 87 speed, 89 excel. Not that it matters too much, just out of curiosity. But it actually turns out for fullback, there's an 87 overall and a 90. So I didn't get the last 80 overall. What about, and for punter, we have an 81 and an 80 overall. What about kicker? Adam Vinatieri, 91, 86 here, 82, and an 80 overall. So I didn't get the last 80 overall last round, but we do still need a tight end. And Kyle Brady is the highest rated one on here, but his archetype is blocking. And for the Bengals offensive playbook, like I said, it's a very, very pass-heavy one. So instead, we're going to pivot and go Wesley Walls because of that vertical threat archetype. And hopefully that will help out. He's 36, dude. What's his speed looking like? 84. I mean, for a tight end, that's actually pretty good to have 84 speed, especially at 36. We'll take that. So yeah, Wesley Walls will be our tight end here, 67 overall. And now for round 19, I've been skimming through all the positions, looking at who's available. Somehow, someway, Jason Sehorn at 76 overall is still here. So I'm just going to predict he's going to be like, I don't know, we'll say 37. Let's just see, out of curiosity. I was actually way off. So despite being like the highest rated corner on the board for like so long, he's still on the board, and we're going to take him here because we do still need a third corner. So that means all the CPU teams must have got like really high overall corners, or they were just skipping out on them. One of the two. But yeah, we do still need a linebacker, and Le'Veon Kirkland, I hope I pronounced that correctly, is currently the highest rated linebacker on here because Eddie Robinson, he's speed rusher for his archetype. Mo Lewis, he's power rusher, but he's also a nice 69 overall. So we're just going to take Mr. Kirkland here and add him to the roster. Our first linebacker coming in, what was that, round 20? Yeah, that was round 20. Goodness gracious. But we still need two more. We also do need a linebacker. I mean, not a linebacker, a running back after that. So Teddy Bruschi, I think, I don't even know. Marvin Jones. That's literally Marvin Jones in the picture. Well, I mean, it's Marvin Jones Jr. in the picture, so maybe this is his dad. Maybe his dad was a linebacker. That could be possible. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, Teddy Bruschi, I don't even know. We're going to take him here in round 21 and at our second linebacker here. So yeah, I looked it up, and apparently this actually is his dad. His dad was a linebacker back when he played in the NFL, so we're going to add him here just for that reason. So yeah, that pretty much completes the team outside of like a running back and kicker and punter, and I guess even a fullback as well. So just looking at running back, so Lamont Warren, 76 overall, is currently the highest rated running back on the board here. So we will be adding him here, even though the Bengals offensive playbook really doesn't utilize the running back at all. It's actually kind of crazy because you can have a really high rated running back, but the playbook will just not give your running back carries. It's actually kind of annoying because, like I said, you can have a really high overall running back, but you just won't get carries for them. But yeah, it looks like the higher rated fullbacks got taken, which is unfortunate because I was going to take one here. So we'll pivot, go with the special teamers. So Todd Sauerbrunn, I think. I don't know, is Adam Vinatieri still here? He is. If I'm not mistaken, he's the all-time scoring leader, so we're just going to add him here. 91 overall. I think he might be the highest rated player on the team. If I'm not mistaken, he might actually be. But what about punter? But it looks like there was a run on punters in the last round because a lot of them are gone. But what we're going to be doing here is taking Craig Hentrich, I think. I don't even know. We'll be adding our punter here in round 25, and that face scan does not look like a punter at all. But yeah, so yeah, there was a lot of kickers and punters going here. A lot of them. And some fullbacks here as well. But still, there is still some 79 pluses. I mean, there's a lot of high rated tackles. And by high rated, I'm talking about like in comparison to like this roster. But yeah, we do still need a fullback, and that will pretty much complete the team. Like, I mean, I guess I could take a fourth wide receiver, but I mean, I guess we'll let the CPU do that. I'm not too concerned about that. So Zach Crockett is currently the highest rated fullback on the board. What's his speed looking like? Just out of curiosity, 83. I don't know, that might be good for a fullback. I wouldn't know. I don't really look too much into fullback ratings. But yeah, round 26, Zach Crockett is our last pick. We will just advance on to the end of the draft. But yeah, Adam Vinatieri returns to the Colts. He is the highest rated player on this team as a kicker. So that's definitely something. So I just want to see corners for the rest of the league. So, I mean, yeah, there is a good chunk of higher rated corners, but I mean, there is a pretty big drop off in terms of corner overall. So I guess our cornerback room is looking pretty good. We also do have a pretty good secondary in general. We have an 85 and an 80 overall safety, so we will take that. But yeah, I do have a few positions to move around. I'll do that real quick, and then we'll go see what the roster is looking like before we sim through the season. And so with the draft and everything now complete, we are sitting at a 78 overall with an 80 overall offense and a 77 overall defense. Well, that's actually before I generate best lineup. I'm sure the overall probably went up. I guess I forgot to do that, but it still doesn't update the overall for some reason. So like if I advance the week, it would show the updated overall. But I mean, I guess that's besides the point. So yeah, this is what the offense is looking like. Our highest overall player is our quarterback in at 88 overall. Outside of that, our entire offensive line is at least an 80 overall. We have one wide receiver that's above an 80, and then we have a 76 and a 72 overall wide receiver, and our tight end is a 67 overall. I completely forgot about that. But yeah, in comparison to the rest of the league, I would imagine an 80 overall offense is like probably like towards the top, I'd imagine. But we also do use the Bengals offensive playbook. I mentioned this earlier. If you guys know about the Bengals offensive playbook, for franchise, it's like ridiculously good. So I always use it whenever I'm doing a rebuild or anything like that, just because it gives your team the best chance to succeed. So there we go. And I also do use the Bills defensive one because that one is also very good, especially if you're in a 4-3. I know the Steelers one has a pretty good for a 3-4, but I always run a 4-3. So yeah, the Bengals offense, Bills defense. So yeah, using those playbooks will really give us the best chance to succeed. So just checking out this 77 overall defense, I'm kind of surprised it's only a 77, but granted, I didn't take a linebacker until like, what was it, like round 20 or something like that. I kind of understand it though. Our defensive line is probably the best in the NFL, I would imagine. Like I'm pretty positive Hugh Douglas was my second round pick and Warren Sapp was my third round pick, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think I took Bruce Smith within like round 7 or something like that, but yeah, I mean, our corners, compared to like the rest of the league, we probably have the best cornerback room in the league, I would imagine. Just considering the cornerback overall drop-off, I would imagine our cornerback room is one of, if not the best. Even though we don't have like a premier, like 90 plus overall, we still have a pretty well-rounded out group. And so when I was editing the first part of this video not that long ago, I was looking at the picture for Brock Marion, and I'm pretty positive it's Brian Robinson Jr., the one running back. I thought it was a corner. I don't know why I thought that, but I'm like 99.98% positive it's Brian Robinson Jr. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm like pretty positive that's him. But yeah, outside of that, the defense is a 77. You know, our linebackers are probably the reason behind that, which I mean, it's completely my fault for neglecting to draft a linebacker for like the first 20 rounds. So I do take accountability for that. But outside of that, this defense is looking very good. I would imagine this defense is probably one of the higher ranked ones in the league. I wish there was a way you could like compare your overall to other teams. I know what you can do is you can like retire and then just like look at the entire league, but I wish there was like a specific screen that you could open up and just compare yourself to the rest of the league. But yeah, we also have Adam Vinatieri, the highest rated player on the team, 91 overall. But yeah, outside of that, that is what the team is looking like. I'm not going to spend too much time yapping about it. I'm interested in seeing what this team can actually do on the field. So with that being said, we will go ahead and sim through the season to see what this team can do. Before we do that, my record prediction, you know, as much as I want to be like very optimistic, I really have no idea how this is going to go just because of how these overalls are spread out. Like, this could very well be like a 17-0 season, or it could also be an 0-17 season. Like, it really could go either way. I'll be a little bit optimistic though. I'll go 10-7. I think we will definitely be a playoff team. I mean, this defense is like very good. I would imagine we're a playoff team. And as well as this offense, the offense is very good as well. So yeah, I think we'll go 10-7. That's my record prediction. You guys can comment yours if you would like. And without further ado, I'll go ahead and sim through the season. And as we approach the playoffs here, if you guys have been enjoying this one, I do have 2 other historical roster fantasy drafts. I did a Madden 18 roster as well as a Madden 12 roster fantasy draft. If you're interested, feel free to check either of those out after you finish watching this one. And my record prediction for once was actually correct. We go 10-7, we win the AFC South, we have a home game today. So I don't normally get my record predictions correct, so that's actually pretty solid. So we do have some players in top 3s here. Jeff Garcia in for top 3 passing yards and at 2nd place. Hugh Douglas is tied for the league leader in sacks. He does have 17 TFLs though. And then we also have Rod Smith leading the way with 115 catches and 1.5 thousand yards on the season. So just out of curiosity, did we have an MVP Jeff Garcia on the team? Did we? No, Drew Bledsoe wins MVP. Jeff Garcia was 7th place, so unfortunately he did not win it. Not too big of a deal though, because I think he's more focused on a Super Bowl MVP rather than a regular season one. But yeah, the Steelers overall wise, they're an 80 overall, 83 offense, 77 overall defense. So it shows them as having a defensive advantage, but it's the exact same overall, so that's definitely interesting. Team ranks wise though, we are dominating in like pretty much everything. We have 4 top 5s and then a top 10 in points per game. Rush yards, like I said, with the Bengals offensive playbook, it doesn't matter how good of an offensive line you have or how good of a running back you have, you're just never going to get good team ranks for rushing yards on offense. But I mean, clearly it is working because we did go 10-7 and we did have some stat leaders on offense. And I mean, for points per game and passing yards, we did do very well in there. But it looks like the Steelers, they are really good at running the ball and stopping the run on defense. I mean, they do have some 11th places. Well, they have 3 11th places, but they don't really pass the ball too well, and we have a very good pass defense as well as a very good run defense. So we will see how that shapes out here at home at Lucas Oil Stadium here in this wild card round, and we win 17-7 to go on to take on the 13-4 Las Vegas Raiders led by 99 overall Donovan McNabb. Goodness gracious. So in regards to team ranks, we match up very well with them. They have very good team ranks though. Like, their team ranks are incredible. Outside of offensive pass yards, which you would kind of think that would be the thing they dominate in, considering they have a 99 overall quarterback, but Donovan McNabb only has 24 passing touchdowns, and I'm pretty sure he was like the 4th pick if I'm not mistaken, or he was the 3rd, one of the 2. But yeah, their team ranks are very good, and I mean, they went 13-4 despite being a 78 overall, 81 offense, same as us, and 76 defense. So we do have the overall advantage on 2 out of 3. Offense is tied, but for some reason gives us the green. But yeah, I mean, those team ranks are very concerning. We do have a very good defense, but averaging 123 rush yards a game is kind of insane. But I guess we'll see if we are able to pull off the upset here in Las Vegas, taking on the Raiders here in the divisional round, and we lose 24-10. So yeah, that was pretty disappointing. We'll advance on to the Super Bowl just to see if the Raiders go on to the Super Bowl after beating us, and they do. So we'll just advance a week to see if the Raiders win. That way it kind of eases the pain of the loss a little bit, just considering we lost to the Super Bowl champs and we don't. So the Raiders lose by 3. In the Super Bowl, who's the MVP? Michael Vick wins MVP, and he also wins Offensive Player of the Year. We did have Defensive Player of the Year, so that's pretty cool. But we unfortunately did not end up winning the Super Bowl here. But yeah, the team gave it their best effort. Jeff Garcia is up to an X Factor after that Amazing season. We are down to a 73 overall though. Not that it matters, and Warren Sapp also an X factor. But yeah, that is going to be the end of the 2003 fantasy draft here in Madden 25 franchise mode. If you made it all the way into the end, thank you so much for watching all the way into the end. I really appreciate that. If you enjoyed, I do have a ton of other Madden 25 content up in playlists up on my channel. If you want to check that out, feel free to do that. But yeah, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see y'all next time.